What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes Show. Today, we are brought to you by Shady Rays. Awesome sunglasses that they've got the best deal in all of sunglasses. If you break it or lose it, they'll just send you a new pair. No questions asked. I don't know how you can beat that. Get a pair for yourself by going to shadyrays.com and use our promo code Bronx for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Scott, good morning. It's Thursday. The Yankees just took 2 out of 3 from the Guardians. I don't know how they took 2 out of 3.
It doesn't feel that way.
It was a dumpster fire of a series. They somehow won 2 out of 3, though.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
All right. Got a little.
You're showing your Judge bobblehead.
I'm showing my Judge bobblehead for those listening to the show.
It's
actually my favorite. It's my favorite bobblehead.
I've got 2 Judge bobbleheads.
Okay. I have. You want to know what my? Can you take a guess on what my favorite bobblehead is?
I think you've told me this before, and I can't remember.
Okay, no more guesses. This is riveting audio, but I have to be very careful with this one because it's very fragile. Very fragile. Okay.
I have not seen that before.
It's the Greg.
Oh, it's the Greg. No, I have. It's
yes,
the Greg bird.
Because it's very top heavy and it broke. So literally the shell is broken, which is just perfect. So, and he's got the angel wings on the back. It's awesome.
Where did you get that?
I have no idea. I don't remember. It's from Scranton. He's in a Rail Riders.
But you never uniform. Went to a Rail Riders game, did you?
Not when he was there. No. So I don't know how I got this. I think
did a listener give it to you? Maybe.
No, I think maybe the people that made it sent us a few at one point. So, but it's a prized possession. But yeah, this is this series that they won is a strange one. Look, I'm glad they got it in the books because winning series, that's what matters. You need to do that. And they had to get off the schneid of a couple in a row. But yeah, the way that the wins happened, I'm not like over the moon with them, but at the same time, that's the type of shit that they need to do right now because they are a team that is pretty broken and you have to win at all costs, no matter what. So
yeah,
the fact that they did win is a very good thing considering what's going on with this team right now.
Yeah, no, you can't be concerned with how the wins look at this point with the lineup that they're trotting out, as long as it's a W in the books, because there's also going to be some ugly L's for sure. We got on Monday. Before we talk about all that stuff, though, we have to talk about the event, which is on sale. It's been on sale for a week or so. I know some
last Friday when everybody, when my deadline was, I had it up on Friday.
Like 7 p.m. Friday.
No,
right?
Like 4 p.m. But yeah.
Okay. Well, it was on Friday. So we had some people tweeting us, and thank you to everyone who has reached out. If you are interested in coming to the event, it is May 27th, which is the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend against the Padres, which is a very intriguing matchup. It's a 1:00 game. The event is listed on the Bronx Pinstripes fan shop. So go to bronxpinstripes.com. Then you'll see the little fan shop button at the top, and you go there. It's the only thing listed there right now. We'll
tweet it out. Too.
Yep, well, it'll be tweeted out on all of our pages. It's section 205, which is right field, middle level. It's the one that we're always in. We've got about 100 tickets, so there's not as many as we used to have in some past events. So do not hesitate to get them. It's a 1:00 game. We're going to be pre-gaming at the dugout from 10:30 to 12:30. You also get a custom event t-shirt, which Scott designed, the pinstripe heart, because we are raising money for the Ethan Lindbergh Foundation. And this shirt and this design has a lot of meaning to you. If you want to just, tell everyone how, the backstory there.
Yeah, obviously. So I've been talking about my wife running the marathon up in Boston. Ironic as it is, my son was born up at Boston Children's Hospital, and raising money for Ethan Lindbergh Foundation, which does a lot for families that are up in Boston or up in different children's hospitals, and their children have a heart defect. And there are multiple things that go on with that. And one of the biggest things, which I can 100% relate to, is that housing is a pain in the ass around those places because there just really isn't much available. So your options are very limited. And these guys put together some apartments that they subsidize out and get to families. So it's really, really an awesome thing. And having a place to go back to after you're at the hospital all day long is really a massive deal for your sanity. So appreciate everybody who supports them. We made a $5,000 donation on behalf of Bronx Pinstripes that was going to so originally my wife was raising money for this through the marathon run. Because the bid was through the Ethan Lindbergh Foundation. So we made a $5,000 donation, and that's what this event is going to. If we make over that $5,000, we will donate the rest of it. But yeah, all dollars are going towards the donation that we make to the Ethan Lindbergh Foundation. And we haven't done an event in a long time. 2019 playoffs was the last one we did. It was amazing. It was the best one we have done. We had we had a good amount of events planned for the next year. Obviously, COVID derailed a lot of things, and lives changed in between that with things that we were doing personally. So we just haven't gotten back to it. So I'm excited to get back to it. Excited to get back into the stadium in 205 with some folks. So if you haven't been to an event in the past, definitely come out. And if you have been to an event, we'd love to see you out there. It would be going to be a lot of fun. I've already recognized a bunch of names that have signed up. So I'm really excited to get back out there and see everybody. That's probably, I know Andrew just said this in the past, but it's our favorite part about doing this whole thing is getting out into the stadium and hanging out with you guys and just having a good time. Going to be very family friendly. I'm sure there will be some solid chants as well, but the Padres will be in town, so it'll be a good game. And I'm pretty sure from what my ticket rep is saying at Yankees, that game is sold out or damn close to sold out, and the tickets of the retail price of that ticket has gone up into like $100 and some dollars. And this is what else? That $70 for
$75.
$75. That's with a t-shirt.
But you also get a t-shirt. Yeah. And it's honestly 205 is a great section. It's a great vantage point for watching the game. My only hope is that somehow, I don't know if this can happen. Can that game get flexed to 4:00? I guess, is that possible?
No, I want breakfast beers at the dugout.
I mean, that's fun and everything.
I want to be drinking at 10:30 in the morning.
You could still do that for a 4:00 game. You realize?
Yeah, I could, but then me shotgunning the beer that I owe is not going to happen as well.
That's right.
It'll definitely happen.
You're paying that debt.
I will pay that debt. Yeah,
7 years later, 6 years later.
Hey. No, it's 3 years later, but
no, it was from Sonny Gray 2018.
No, the bet was from Mike Talkman. That's actually how the bet went down. The bet actually happened because of Mike Talkman getting 10 home runs in the first 2 months or before whatever it was, before the All-Star break. Some stupid bet it's unbelievable that I lost a bet that Mike Talkman hit as many home runs as he did.
Is he in Korea now?
I don't give a shit, but he's making me shotgun a beer in front of the section. So I'm
sure you're really sad about that.
Yeah, I haven't shotgunned a beer in a while. So, and they don't have small boys at Yankees.
You've got the 24 ounces. It's going to cost you like $22.
It's going to cost me a week of my life.
You're going to shotgun the mega cans.
I'm going to get the smallest can I could possibly find. That is a light beer. That's what's going to happen.
You got the family coming, right? Bevan and Kemp are coming.
Yep. Everybody's coming. My sister, her family are coming. So excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll be riding solo. My wife at that point will be 8.5 months pregnant. I've got my second child coming at the end of June. So This is my last hurrah for the summer.
Nice.
It's the beginning of summer and my end of summer all in one.
Well, there you go. Celebrate it all at one time. Maybe you can shotgun a beer with me.
Let's start by talking about the week that Aaron Boone had. So Monday had to have been the worst loss of the season. You're up 2-0. Domingo Germán is dominating, absolutely dominating. And the Guardians lineup is not impressive. I think on that list of total bases per game, they were actually down near the bottom.
Yeah, they don't score a lot of runs.
Talked about. They don't score a lot.
They're
of
runs. They're a run prevention team.
Sure. But still, he was absolutely unhittable. And yeah, the Yankees didn't do anything offensively, really. Like they could have scored more than 2 runs, but you're up 2-0 with Domingo Germán at 88 pitches with 1 out in the 9th inning. Okay. He struck out Straw to start the 9th.
Hold on. Can we stop there for a second? I feel like we need to dissect this like piece by piece and get our opinions in before we get to the rest of it. All right. So going into the 9th inning, 88 pitches. Okay.
No, not going into the 9th inning. He was at like 80,
okay. So he was 88 pitches when he stopped.
Low
after
80s.
the straw.
Low 80s
okay,
going
fine.
into the
9th inning. Domingo Germán hesitation for him to pitch the ninth and have a runner on with a bet. Totally get that. I do.
Yep.
I don't care where his pitch count is. I understand that. I do. I understand that. And I want to be very clear with like, I'm not killing Boone for thinking that having a guy on is dangerous with Domingo Germán, because he does give up a lot of home runs. So that said, that's where I am at that point. Now, the decision for him to go out there with that in your mind is now makes this a different scenario.
Right. So let me just lay out the scenario, and then we can talk about why it was a freaking moronic decision. So he gives up the single to Kwan, and then Boone brings in Clay Holmes to face Ahmed Rosario and Jose Ramirez, the heart of the Guardians lineup, with the tying run at the plate. Okay, fine. In concept, I get that. What ended up happening is fielding error by Holmes, and then that set up a 2-run single for Naylor to tie the game. And then Wandy comes in, can't find the plate, and walks in the go-ahead run. After the game, Boone said in his post-game presser, I wasn't going to let Domingo go back around through Rosario and Ramirez with the tying runs coming up to the plate. If that is in his mind, to your point, you have a decision to make. You either don't start him in the ninth inning because that's a possibility. One runner comes on, and then there you've got Rosario and Ramirez coming up as the tying run. Or you're saying he has been so good in this game, even if one runner gets on, I still have confidence that he can pitch through this. I hate that he continues to pull this crap where he instead of making a decision, he's riding the fence. He's going down the middle. And it's like, if a guy gets in trouble, then I'm going to pull him. All that's doing is setting up the next pitcher for failure. You know, this is a pet peeve of mine. Just start Clay Holmes or Wandy Peralta or whoever you want to finish the game. Start him in a clean inning. Or let Domingo Germán work through that situation because of his pitch count was so low, because he had been so dominant. He was even better than he was in that game against Minnesota, where he had the perfect game, like into the 6th inning or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But because Boone instead is unsure and playing this thing of, oh, if a guy gets in trouble, then I'm going to pull him. All that's doing is putting Clay Holmes, who has not been good, who is struggling, who I have some numbers on him, puts him in a position to fail. Yes, and I know he got the dribbler and he made the fielding error. So if you want to say, like, we're going to play some sound from Boone's press conference after last night's game where he's talking about Bermuda Triangle, bloop hits, errors and stuff, like, oh, bad luck for Clay Holmes. The fact of the matter is Clay Holmes is walking 11% of batters this year.
Yeah.
11%. Which is basically how bad he was in the second half of last year when he walked 12% of batters.
Let's play that
high leverage spots. He's
not great.
Risky right now.
Let's play that audio, but it's important. I'm glad we're playing the audio because tying into last night is important for this.
It's absolutely tying in. So before we play the audio, Logan, this is talking about the decision to pull Marinaccio with 2 outs in the 9th inning and go to Clay Holmes in Wednesday's game.
I know you've expressed a lot of faith in Clay, but is there any hesitation going to him in that situation? Game tied, rain is coming down.
No, not hesitation going to him. He's coming in the game against, like, that's where we're going, whether it's with 2 outs there or in the next innings. Zero hesitation going to him. The one hesitation I had was, do I squeeze Marinaccio through one more hitter and then hand it over to Clay in the, I guess that would be the 10th.
Or finish
would
the
have
game.
been the 10th. So that was the only calculus, was do I stay a little bit longer with Marinaccio knowing he went yesterday. So that was the only hesitation. And look, I understand with Clay, obviously, you know, there's been a couple outings. Let's look at what's going on a little bit. Like, it's a little bit, I mean, the Bermuda Triangle, like, you can't, that's baseball sometimes. So obviously we got to get him to where he's the Clay we know, but he's a lot closer to that than I think the noise.
So before you start, because I know you've got some thoughts on this, this is pulled from the press conference clip that the Yes Network tweeted out. It's like a 7-minute clip, and that was towards the end. There's also a point where a question was asked earlier around the 1-minute mark, where Boone still talking nonsense, talking about how they were unsure if they wanted to push Marinaccio past 1 inning. And then he was like, well, but I know he had already gotten up and down because he pitched in the 8th and then he pitched in the 9th, and he had faced 5 batters and gotten all of them out. So he's already pitched across 2 innings. He's pitched 5 outs. At that point, if you're not willing to push him past the 1 inning mark, you've already done that.
Is he pitching well?
So
is he pitching well? Also, is like
Marinaccio?
the eyes. What are your eyes telling you when you're looking at Marinaccio pitching out there after getting 5 outs?
No problem.
Okay, cool.
No problem.
So a big part of this to me is that this, like, honestly, and I really thought we were getting past this. I did, and maybe that's just me being naive and stupid. But this is a numbers decision. This isn't even Boone. These are the analytics are making this decision. The nerds are making this decision, and Boone is the puppet because it's out of his hands at that point. And the fact that he is cowering to these numbers decisions, I don't know if he has the ability to make a logical decision as a human being. I'm not sure. I don't even know what's up anymore. He might be AI that's gone rogue. I have no idea. But the fact that you're saying these things, you're getting the inning wrong when you're talking about it. You don't actually know what the situation is. And Logan had put it in our chat last night, which I think he's right. If we're looking to set up Clay Holmes for the next inning, getting him into the 9th inning for 1 batter eliminates the 3-batter rule, so they can pull him at any point, which just gives them more optionality, I guess, if he gets in trouble. Also, that's assuming that the game isn't over, with Marinaccio throwing the ball really well because he could have just finished the game, and then none of that happens. It makes no sense. None of that makes any sense. So when Boone is up there talking about this, to me, it's like he didn't have a lot of thought into the process or into that situation, and that the numbers were making it, because he didn't even know what the situation was. He couldn't talk about it in a detailed way that someone would be able to if they knew and thought through that situation and were using their eyes as a baseball manager to make a decision. All of that was just, to me, a clipboard came up to him. The spreadsheet said this, and that's what they did, no matter what. And unbelievable that when you're looking at what occurred, yes, the Yankees won the game. Thank God they won the game. Thank God for Willie Calhoun right now carrying this team. But my God, if you have Marinaccio out there for 5 outs and you were only going to have him for 1 inning, that's blown out of the water. He's pitching well. Finish the goddamn game with the guy that's riding well, not bringing in the guy that has 11% walks, can't be around the plate, just failed the other day in a very similar situation when you're bringing him in. If you're going to do that, then give him the inning. Like, exactly. I give you shit sometimes for too much.
Set your pitchers up for success. He doesn't.
I don't think that relief pitchers need a clean inning all the time. But in situations like this, and going back to the to game 1 of the series, if you are not going to throw Herman against Rosario and Ramirez,
don't let him start the
inning. That's it. Exactly. So everything has to be perfect. It just reminds me of what year was this when CeCe had to get to the bottom of the inning?
18 in the Red Sox, trying to push an ancient Sabathia in an elimination game through the Red Sox lineup.
It reminds me of that. It's like the mentality still hasn't changed. We've gone through all of these games and all of these years and all of the shit that has gone down, and it's still like the same mentality. Where's the growth? Where's the growth in this mentality and understanding who your guys are? And 11% walks tells me a guy in a high leverage situation where the numbers don't back it up. Maybe historical, going back to a year. I don't know what sample size they're using, but when I see a guy that's struggling to start the season off, I have to know that, and I have to use that within the logic of making a decision.
Clay Holmes is not struggling just to start the season off. He has been a bad pitcher since July 1st of last year.
The numbers say that for the second half of last year, but didn't he get to a point at the very end of last year where he was pitching better?
He also was dealing with some injuries, I think, towards it, because he didn't even, wasn't he not on the playoff roster for the first round or something like that? So okay, fine. Like, has he pitched well at certain points? What's up, Logan?
He actually, crazy enough, I'm just looking at this now, didn't give him a run up in the playoffs. He pitched
that's what I thought.
5 games.
So if we're looking at that as where the line in the sand starts for Clay Holmes being my evaluation of Clay Holmes, one, that's a little off because, again, it's like carrying over the records from season to season. It really doesn't matter. There's
not when you're looking at something like walk rate. Walk rate is a trend, okay? And in the first half of last year when he was unhittable, he was walking, I put the numbers in here. He was walking 3.6% of hitters in the first half of 2022. In the second half of 2022, 12.3% walk rate. This year so far, 11% walk rate.
Yeah, okay, he's not around the strike zone. He's not executing the pitches that he's supposed to be pitching, that he's supposed to execute when he's at his best. That's it.
And in high leverage spots specifically, Boone was asked about this by Chris Kirshner, Athletic, right? He's
Yes.
at the Athletic. And there's like this long rambling quote asked if he still has faith in Clay Holmes moving forward in high leverage situations. Yeah, a lot. I think he bounced back really well for that last year and finished the season and finished in the postseason throwing the ball incredibly well. Look, I know you can go back to last night talking about Monday. And I think a lot of it comes within the context of where we're going through this last week, scuffling. And at the end of the day, he gets a dribbler back to him that he doesn't make a play on. Ramirez smokes a single and Naylor finds a hole. So I know in the context of everything, it's like he's in a good spot and he'll be fine. And we'll get through this. As you know, there's another level that we know he can get to where he gets in the groove, where he's really dominating all the time, blah, blah, blah. So the thing I wanted to point out here is he talks about the dribbler that he couldn't make the play on. And then in that sound we just played, he talks about the Bermuda Triangle play, which, yeah, okay, fine. That's a bloop but it's
a bloop, and then the line drive to IKF.
The line drive to IKF.
First of all, why is IKF playing left field?
Why is IKF playing? Exactly.
We have like 18 left fielders on this team that are relative no names, but they know how to play left field. Why are we also now putting IKF? Like it was a lot to ask him to play center field. There's a lot more range. Like you can do things. It's a little bit easier, I think, as a fielder because it's just a lot of space to tackle. When you go to left field, there's a lot more nuance that comes into that, and that's a difficult position. And we're just gonna throw him out there in the middle. Like, look, defend IKF.
You want to start the game? You want to start the
IKF?
game? IKF in left field, okay. But now you're in a situation. You're in a tie game.
They had nobody on the bench though. Their bench is thin as shit right now. But either way, like
Oswaldo Cabrera came in.
Yes, he did.
But
Harrison Bader
when
got hurt.
Bader got hurt. Exactly. Yeah. So you could have just put Oswaldo Cabrera in for defense. To your point, IKF is an infielder who they stuck in center field out of necessity, and then they moved to left field. So yeah, Clay Holmes gives up the line drive. Does a good left fielder make that catch? Probably, but he still give up a smoked line drive into the left center field gap.
Yeah, and he lost it in the lights, which again, like that.
Did he lose it in the lights? I know O'Neill said he lost it in the lights. Are we sure? That was a low line drive. He lost that in the lights.
Yeah, I think it's the lights at that point. Yeah, you can. It does if it doesn't get above the light.
Did he lose the bloop in the? Did he lose the bloop in the lights when
that wasn't even his
into
ball?
Harrison Bader's neck and almost freaking
that wasn't even his
him?
ball. There was no communication on that ball, and he's going after. I don't blame him. He covered a ton of ground to get to that point. Point is, he shouldn't have been put in that situation. Anybody can kill IKF all they want. The guy's played every position.
I'm not killing IKF.
I know you're not. IKF. I know you're not. But I'm saying that him being in that position, this just again goes back to Boone putting people in situations that are not
exactly
putting them in a situation for success.
Exactly.
And yeah, it was unfortunate with what happened with Bader. It seems like he's okay from hearing about it, just like he's banged up a little bit.
He's going to get some tests today.
I would have liked him to stay in the game, to be honest, but it didn't look like it was all that crazy. When he got up, he said something popped. That's what it sounded like.
That's
mouth.
good.
He said something popped.
That's something. Wait, was it the mouth guard?
So I'm hoping the mouth guard and not the shoulder.
Yeah, that's never good. Yeah. It was a really bad week for Aaron Boone and the decisions that he made.
They won despite him, to be honest.
They won the games, ugly wins. But back to your point about like you don't even think he's making some of these decisions, which is why he can't logically explain them. I think there is something to that.
Of course,
because the explanations don't make any sense, and it just compounds it just puts a spotlight on how bad and head scratching the decision was when the manager can't even have a clear explanation of it in the post game.
Yeah.
If you make a decision and it doesn't work out, but there's sound logic behind it, everyone can live with it and move on. But when you're fumbling over your words, talking about not wanting to push a guy through one inning when he's already pitched to 5 batters, and then starting a guy in the next inning when you think it's the 9th inning, you say it's the 9th inning, it's really the 10th inning, and all these random ass friggin' things, you're just like, what are we doing?
It's like talking to a child knowing that they did the thing and then they're trying to talk their way out of not doing the thing. And it makes zero sense because they actually did the thing. So they're making shit up as they're talking, as was he making shit up as he was talking, couldn't even get the situation correct. And then even when he's talking about the thing that gets me is like, yeah, we were going to have him pitch what he said, the 9th, which was confusing because that means the 9th does happen. So hold on. I just thought about something as well. So he thought it was the 9th inning, which has to happen for a game to be complete, right? So was he thinking in his brain that it was coming up in the 9th inning, that he was in the wrong inning, that he was in the 8th inning? Because if he thought he was in the 8th inning, then that logically would make sense, because the 9th inning does have to happen. But they were in the 9th inning, and they had to get to the 10th inning, which doesn't have to happen if Marinaccio just completes the game and finishes what he already was doing well at the time. So yeah, no sense. And the more I talk about it, it makes even less sense. So I don't know who's making decisions based on that. I really don't. I think and that pisses me off, because you need to use your eyes in that situation, understand what's going on.
I pulled some numbers in the division on record in close games and 1-run games. So after last night's game, the Yankees are 4-4 in 1-run games. Tampa is 4-1. Toronto is 6-3. Baltimore is 7-2, and Boston is 6-6. And then there's also, to highlight this, the Yankees' clutch stats with runners in scoring position in high leverage spots are just awful. Their OPS plus, their split OPS pluses are like 44, 84, like well below league average. But I think the record in close games, and you lose a game on Monday night, it does boil down to the manager and some of the weird ass decisions that he's making. And especially when your lineup is so shot right now, you've got so many guys injured. You can't make mistakes in game decisions. You can't put players that already probably don't belong in the positions they are in even worse positions, because all that's going to happen is they're going to fail and you're going to lose games. You have no margin for error right now. The offense is terrible. You're not scoring any runs.
And he's getting the thing is he's getting his own way, because all he had to do was stay with Marinaccio in that point. And you have an off day coming up also. That's the other piece. Like, he's already thrown 5 guys. You wanted to get him 1 inning. Well, that's blown. That's gone. Now you need to look it forward and say, okay, now that he's gone past that 1 inning, how are we using him the next time? Well, we do have an off day coming up, and we're going to Tampa. So that helps. If he's going well, we should be able to go with him because of that off day. Like, that's a logical deduction by going through the situation, understanding what's coming up, and also understanding what's in front of your face in this moment, knowing that you really do need to win this series at home against this team who hasn't scored any runs really. So
it is absolutely the 2-batter thing. I think that plays a huge factor here.
But again, the game would be over, so none of that matters.
I know, but at the same time, they understand, like,
and then they didn't use Clay Holmes into the 10th inning. So what are we talking
about? Because they don't trust him right now. So they don't trust him. Where if in the 10th inning,
they do.
In the 10th inning, you've got that runner on second base. So any sign of trouble, they want to be able to pull Clay Holmes. But if he starts the 10th inning, he's got to face the 3 batters no matter what. So they wouldn't have the flexibility to pull him. It's just a mess. It's just a freaking mess.
Well, if you walk a guy, with that 11% walk rate, then it's set up for the double play. So
that's right.
It's fine.
Right. And he's a ground ball pitcher.
Yeah.
And then if he gets a ground ball back to him, he's got to be able to field the ball.
Right. Go to third.
Well, at the start of this episode, I told you guys about Shady Rays. And if you want to kick off your summer right with eyewear built to last, there is no better company to do that with than Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that are just as good as any expensive pair you can buy. They're lightweight and durable, which is an unbeatable combination. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. If you lose your pair, you break them, even if it's day one, or if you don't even like them, you get them in the mail and you put them on. You're like, you know what? These don't really complement my face. Maybe your nose looks big. Maybe your chin looks weird. I don't know. You can just return them and get a new pair and no questions asked. It's just amazing. With Shady Rays, you can look good and feel good. To date, they have donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. It makes a great gift for loved ones as well. Maybe your dad needs a new pair of sunglasses. You get a pair, Scott, for Kemp. Maybe does he wear sunglasses? Does he wear things on his face?
Yeah, if they have a policy for kid sunglasses and they replace the ones that get broken and replaced, they're going to go out of business pretty quickly. So to be honest, I don't trust him with those. I am going to leave it to me to lose them and scratch them because I do that well enough. But he does try to put them on because they are some great sunglasses, and you can see the polarized lenses are beautiful, crystal clear.
Go to shadyrays.com and use promo code Bronx for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Check them out. We know you're going to love them. Shout out to Shady Rays for sponsoring us. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's do you want to go through some of the other notes from the series, or do you want to talk about some injuries? Because there's a lot of injuries to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it in tandem here. Your choice.
Well, so we mentioned Bader. He was reinstated for Tuesday's game. Comes out of Wednesday's game. Do not be surprised if he's not in the lineup on Friday, because Boone already said they're planning on getting him a day off in Tampa. So because of the injury,
isn't there a day off today as we're recording?
But
it, right?
but it's the turf.
Yeah.
It's the turf in Tampa. We know how difficult the turf can be. And if you're standing on the turf, that goes up through your feet. And didn't he have turf toe last year when they traded for him? Plantar fasciitis or something like that? Something in his foot.
Yeah, we don't call it
so
turf
there's
toe
injury
anymore.
last year.
It sounds not as serious.
But this year he's got the oblique, and it can go up through your leg into your oblique.
Oh, now you're a doctor, huh? You're talking about the how things are connected. The hip bone is connected to the leg bone.
Exactly.
Clearly they need outfielders to be playing, and he's a young, spry kid. How about he just play? That's what I'm looking for.
I don't know. They sent down Franchi Cordero. Willie Calhoun was able to stay on the roster, and like you said, thank God, because he carried them through some wins.
I like Willie Calhoun, man. I was watching the game the other day with and Bevan was watching it. She looked up for a second and made a comment only because not about baseball.
Who's that meatball?
No, she said, "Who's that baby?" Because I didn't realize how much of a baby face he does have. He does have a really young looking face. When I started like actually staring at his face, I was like, "You're right. He does look very young. He's like a baby Pudge."
Judge was also placed on the IL, retroactive to Thursday with the hip stuff. His quote caught my eye. He said, "I asked for a couple days and got outweighed. The whole area, the hip and the oblique. You don't want to mess with it." What stands out to you in that quote?
Well, he misused the word outweighed. It was confusing. But he got overruled, it seems like, in what he wanted to do. And the oblique was discussed.
Oblique.
So, hip. I mean, if you want to go back to the things that are connected, the hip bone's connected to the oblique muscle, which is connected to your rotation of the swing.
Yeah. So if you're following at home, he belly flops into the mud in Minnesota and seems to hurt his hand. Then he's pulled from the next game with a hip injury.
Yeah.
And then 3 days later, he's put on the IL and mentions his oblique.
Right.
So is this a Giancarlo Stanton hit with a pitch in the shin and my bicep got pulled situation?
No. I mean, they are definitely connected. If you bruise your hip, a lot of times the muscle and tendons around that area can get sore. So that's probably what the deal is. Again, the way that he landed, to me, it looks, from hearing everything that we're talking about, there's nothing structural, nothing's wrong. It's a bruise. And yes, if you land on your hip, then other things around that are going to be affected and hurt. So that's my conclusion when I look at all the things that are said.
I am going to stick with that opinion.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I'm just going to call the season shot. Because if Aaron Judge is out for the season, c'est la vie 2023.
Yeah. That's not the case.
I really
nothing is indicating that this is a long.
I know, but this is the first time he's been on the IL since 2020. We know his injury history 2020,
much to his chagrin, because he did not want to be on the IL. He did not want that on his transaction record.
Stanton didn't want to go on the IL either, and he's on the IL every freaking 45 days. So, well, okay. Cashman spoke to the media on Wednesday, talked about the injuries. There wasn't really anything too noteworthy in Cashman. Actually, one thing he did say, they asked him about improving the team more, and he said, "I don't think there was anything on the table that would have made a difference." And he was specifically talking about making a move during spring training to add to the team.
Yeah, and left field, they were asking him about left field as well, and saying that nothing on there would benefit the team. And so I don't know. It's an easy answer to say, because you're talking about things that nobody knows about, that were conversations behind the scenes. And hey, take my word for it. Trust me, there was nothing that was going to make. Well, it's kind of the problem here. We don't the trust factor is wavering at this point. So it's a trust me, bro situation that he kind of is leaning on. But he's trying to get out in front of it. Obviously, you can tell he called this press conference. Everybody was wondering what was going on. and he was just trying to deflect away from the team. That's exactly what this was. It was Brian Cashman
When-
standing
so
up and
have you
trying to
noticed
say,
something?
"Hey, it was yell at me. Don't yell at anybody else. Yell at me."
So he did this mini press conference in the dugout. And
Yeah.
so he's done that before. When he doesn't have anything really to say, he does it in the dugout. When there's some bad news, he does it at
a
the
podium, so he can
Mhm.
run away. Yeah.
So Jason Zillow can be in the back. Okay, that's it. That's it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Having Jason Zillow there is important. Yeah, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. It was basically just like, look at me. If you want to place the blame, place it on me. So
Are you getting a little sick of him constantly talking about how he, we have world-class medical staff and we have the right process in place and blah, blah, blah. Like he's been talking about this for going on 6-7 years now, and going on 6-7 years, the Yankees have had a ton of injuries. And I guess they were kind of spared from a lot of the injuries last year until deeper into the season, but they've got multiple all-stars on the IL right now.
it was so going back to the things that he was talking about. He started, we have a world-class championship organization and staff. And then, yeah, definitely didn't stop with the players. It was like going into everybody who works for the team, essentially. It almost, now that I'm thinking about it, sounds like Hal buzzed into the, Brian, gonna need you to go into the dugout and do one of those, those press conferences about nothing and try to deflect from our manager at this point. Gonna need you to go do that and show your face so that you can.
It's like a show about nothing. It's a press conference about nothing.
So gonna just, that was like a mandate from the top. Because there was nothing to be said, and Brian Cashman's just like, yeah, all right, I'll go in there.
Because
and
at
say
this
nothing
point,
and
what do
talk
you
our
say about the
world-class
injuries?
chefs that are cooking food for this team that is world class and championship caliber and all of these things? Yeah, I don't know. It was nothing. Yes, we do blame you. We're looking at blaming you. You didn't have to give us the permission to blame you. We know. There's more to blame here than just one person. Also,
well, it's ridiculous. I mean, this Carlos Rodon stuff is insane. His back, quote, just doesn't feel right. There's no structural damage. They've done their CSI Bronx. Everything looks good. Nothing wrong with the arm, nothing wrong with the shoulder, nothing wrong with the elbow, but the back just doesn't feel right.
yeah,
What is that?
I don't know. I have
What
no
is
idea.
that?
I have no idea what that is. No idea. If nothing is showing up, and why does it not feel right? What has changed? What specifically doesn't feel right? I mean, they won't go into anything more specific. Obviously, there's something going on. So, and they're leaning on the fact that the MRIs were clean and that there's no structural damage in anything in his body. Yet, it almost reminds me of Zion Williamson, fully cleared to play, totally healthy, just not ready to play. Like, what does that mean?
Right. Boone said that the Yankees are weighing having Rodon stop throwing because when he throws, his back just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. He doesn't have pain. It just doesn't feel right.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid.
I'm going to call in sick today, but I'm not sick.
Yeah.
I don't have a temperature. I'm not sneezing or coughing. I just don't feel right.
No. It's just, you're not
Is
feeling
he hungover? Is he just like, does he have a drinking problem? That doesn't
No,
show
it's
up on
just-
an MRI.
It's just,
Your back could be sore if you're hungover. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
It was raining out. The dampness.
Is he a
dog?
dog?
Little stiffness. Little stiffness.
Yeah. No, this goes back to him in the psyche and like, is this a guy that can't handle something?
Okay,
Going out
so
there throwing
here-
like a tough guy, making weird mental decisions. I don't know.
We talked about how there was no back injuries in his injury history.
Yeah.
He has a lengthy injury history, but no back issues.
Mhm.
Boone said he can't get over the hump with the back, so we'll have other people look at it. He's continuing to throw through all this to get to that place we need him to get to, and that hasn't happened. They're being so vague with this. It's just like, it just doesn't feel right. He's just not at the place he needs to be. None of this is like is there a real problem here and they're just not telling us? Or is this a pitcher that we're dealing with that like, what is it? Is he mentally, like to your point, like, is he just like not mentally ready to pitch for the New York
world-class
Yankees?
medical.
He just signed a massive contract. There's some pressure along with that. Like, he doesn't want to go out there and maybe only be 97.5%. He needs to be 100%, or else he's worried he's not going to pitch well, and then the fans are going to like. Yeah, what are we doing here?
I don't know. It's all just gray area, and the fact that we're talking about our world-class medical staff and that nobody knows what's wrong with his back, so we have to go get some other people to look at it. Speaks to what kind of evaluations we're doing here, or who's making the decisions.
Ilya just put in the chat, he turned 30 in December. And it's like, yeah, you turn 30, your back starts to hurt. Like, welcome to your 30s, Carlos.
I felt fantastic at 30.
Fucking ridiculous. Lou Trevino is getting Tommy John surgery. Jonathan Loizaga is having surgery to remove a bone spur in his elbow. So the earliest we're going to see him is August or September. Luis Severino has a live throwing session in Tampa on Friday because the Yankees do not trust their minor league staff to have him, rehab, because we know that the minor league is where all of the injuries happen. It doesn't happen at the major league level with the major league staff. It only happens.
The actual quote was that they want a controlled environment in Tampa, right? That's like a controlled environment for a throwing session. I don't know, man. Like that to me again, like that is a little. I'm scared about this one because if they're not going into rehab and they need 6 guys looking at all of the things for Severino throwing. I really hope we don't. The next news update about Severino is that he has a setback, but it's like smelling that way. It's smelling that way. Otherwise, why not get him going? Because God knows we need to replace Clark Schmidt in the rotation and get this guy in there. So
Clark Schmidt. And it's like, even when Clark Schmidt isn't even pitching that bad, it's like the defense last night was just horrendous behind him. And it's just like, oh God, this guy cannot catch a break. Like I think he had 2 strikes on 4 different hitters in the first inning last night.
He threw a million pitches.
3 of them reached base. I mean, he has no put out pitch. It's like, it wasn't like the same as like in Texas or some other starts where he's just getting bombed. Like, I think Texas had 5 extra base hits off of him, 10 hits total. Like, it wasn't that situation, but you just look at him pitching and he's just like, he's throwing so many pitches. He can't strike anyone out. He can't get a put away pitch. He gets 2 strikes on a guy and foul ball. It's just, he's not a major league pitcher.
Well, I'm not going to go totally that far because I think that there's something there still. It's just a matter of him not executing. But even in the last, I think it was his last inning, before he got pulled, it was a called strike 3, completely missed the location. Just watch Higgy's glove behind the plate. It's moving all over the damn place. And even that last strikeout, it wasn't what was supposed to happen. It happened. And, and Higgy had to go across the plate to catch the ball. But he's not hitting his spots. And when you don't hit your spots, you're in trouble. And he's getting ground ball double plays. That's if you're looking at it and you're pitching to contact, fine.
The Yankees just can't turn them.
Well, they did in the last in his last full inning of work. But if you're a pitcher that's pitching to contact and getting ground balls, fine. And you're giving up singles, I'm okay with that. But your pitch count should also be in line with that. You can't be going to a full count and then giving up the base hit. If you're pitching to contact in that way, plenty of pitchers have had a lot of success doing that. Then we need to see more of a control with the pitch count. But you got to hit your spots. You got to hit your spots if you're doing that. You got to be very, very precise.
I want to talk about the Tuesday game because Anthony Volpe had himself a night. But before we do that, I have to tell you guys about Game Time, the fastest growing ticket app for a reason. What are we thinking this weekend in Tampa, Scott? What percentage Yankees fans are going to be at the Trop?
It's going to be 70%.
70%.
Yeah.
And Tampa's obviously having a great season. You can get into the Trop for as little as $11 this weekend for Yankees at Rays. Or you can be a baller and you can be like, I want to sit lower level and spend a whole $33. Welcome to Tampa, folks. The app has a ton of cool features and is easy to use. It shows you trending tickets, what sections the best deals are in. It calls out the cheapest options and flash deals and much, much more, so you can make an informed purchase. They have event cancellation protection, so you can buy with confidence. No rainouts in Tampa, but I don't know, maybe the power will go out and they'll have to cancel the game. Some of the reasons why I love
Booth
Game
might
Time.
lose electricity. That's a problem.
That's right. Oh God, I'm gonna just listen to a game this weekend just so I can hear John and Susan complain about the noise.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
You get images of your seats before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect. The buying process is fast. It's just 2 taps and you're done. And the tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you don't have to dig through your email to find them. Snag tickets today without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, create an account, use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you, Game Time, for sponsoring our show. Anthony Volpe just won that game on Tuesday. Just won that game on Tuesday.
Kid's balling, man. He's playing really well. He really is. The at-bats are getting much better. The fact that he's going to the right side of the field is that next level adjustment for him. He's going to find as every right-handed batter who stepped into the box at Yankee Stadium that has found sustained success, going to right field is a big piece of that. Up middle of the field approach, it's a huge piece of it.
He's also, the at bats, he's just hitting the ball so much harder. Like even when the outfielders made a couple nice grabs on him as well, so he could have even had a better night. But this was such a much needed win after the debacle that was Monday. They come back and they're down 2-0 in the 6th. Volpe hits the solo home run to get him on the board. Glaber double, Rizzo single to tie the game. Rizzo is thrown out trying to steal second base. He's now 0 for 2 on stolen bases.
Yeah, he just
we
stopped trying to steal bases.
Yeah, maybe we're like, oh, Rizzo, he's a smart base runner. Maybe he can get some stolen bases. On the flip side, Anthony Volpe, 10 for 10 in stolen bases. And he just put on a clinic in the 8th inning with that leadoff single, steals second, steals third, and then scores on the DJ single. After the game, Boone said Volpe is, quote, one of the best I've ever seen on the bases.
Yeah, well, that's a bit aggressive for a May 4th with a rookie, but yeah, he's good. He's got good instincts out there. That's the biggest thing. He's got really good instincts, and we talked about where he is, like sprint speed, and as far as he's a plus speed guy. There's no doubt, but he's not the fastest guy in the league. He's not even the top 10% of the fastest guys in the league. So the fact that you see how his instincts play on the base path, and then all of the different rule changes. And you made a good point the last time we were talking about this, is that he's had experience with the situation, with these circumstances of the new rules, with the pitch clock, the bases. So this is not new to him. He understands the nuances of those rules, which I think does come into play for the base path. And you're going to start to see more guys, probably emulate some of the things that he's doing. But yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. I love the kid. He's making some damn good plays at short too.
Yeah, and then the numbers are starting to creep up as well. It's like overall the numbers still don't look great. And I was just looking at his splits, and it's like even over the last 7 days or last 15 days.
I just pulled it up too. I was surprised when I saw what I saw.
The numbers are not eye popping, but this is more just like when you're watching the game and you see him playing. He is a major league shortstop. Mm-hmm. And that might sound stupid. That might sound obvious, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, you can tell when a guy is comfortable and not overmatched, and I have full confidence in him, whether the ball's hit to shortstop, whether he's at the plate, he's going to have a good at bat, obviously stealing bases and all that kind of stuff. I have full confidence after a month of seeing him. He is a major league shortstop.
Yes. And there hasn't been one of those guys in a bit here. So the fact that he's stepped into that role and done so well, the numbers are just going to continue to get better. So he's making adjustments. He's shown that he can make adjustments. I'm not comparing him to Judge, but similar in response to when you get to the next level, you make the adjustments, then the league makes adjustments, and now you're back making this adjustment game. He's done that. He's a track record of doing that, and we're watching it happen, I think, in real time. So, and yes, the numbers may not say that everything there, but the at-bats are better. The confidence level does seem like it's always been there, but he's really falling into that. And you can tell that he's got the respect of everybody in the clubhouse as well. And like every single person in there is enamored by the way that he plays the game, the way that he prepares for the game, and the way that he executes and carries himself. So yeah, he's here. He's here to stay.
And the confidence thing is cool because he didn't get off to a good start, and he was hitting under 200 for quite a while. And that did not crush his confidence, because with a rookie, you look up at the scoreboard and your batting average is 162, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's not fun to watch.
That could hurt.
Everybody can see this.
Cole in this game too. So the Yankees continued their streak of winning all the Cole games. Wasn't his best outing. He had to battle through 6 innings, 108 pitches. He walked 3, which is I think why you could tell he just didn't have his full command. Still though, 0 home runs allowed.
Yeah.
And we are into May. Last year he gave up, I believe it was 33 home runs. So at this point last year, he had probably given up like 7 home runs or 8 home runs. 0 dingers allowed for our guy Cole.
Told Boone to piss off when he walked to the to the mound. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you even wasting you're just trying to get steps? What's going on? Get out of my face. You're just gonna get booed. I don't know why you come out here. So he asserted the dominance there, did the right thing, like pitched to the exact thing. It's funny because I was going to bring this up. I changed jobs. I work close with the guys at Greenlight Podcast. They just had CC on yesterday. It's on the episode is pitching or is releasing today. Go listen to it. It's really good. One thing that CC said that I thought was really interesting and ties into this. When Girardi would come out, he was talking about this in depth. When Girardi would come out and try to take the ball from him, he was like, 90% of me is better than any person that's in there not named Mo. Unless you're bringing in Mo, me at 90% is better than literally every single person in that. And he would tell Girardi this, if he came out to the like, what are you even doing? You know that 90% of me is better than literally everybody in there not named Mariano Rivera. And he just wouldn't let it happen. So Cole's the same situation. And of course, I want Cole in that. I don't give a rat's ass where his pitch count is. That man makes the decision on whether he's staying in the game or not staying in the game. And that's how it should be. He should have full autonomy.
This is interesting. We're evolving here because for the past couple of years, we're talking about how Gerrit Cole is not able to finish some of these games. He gets to 80, 90 pitches and we're like, maybe 85% of Cole is not better than Michael King coming out of the bullpen or Wandy Peralta coming out of the bullpen, because we've seen getting in situations where up until 6 1/3 innings, then Cole's got 2 runners on and he gives up a big hit, gives up a home run, and it just completely kills the outing. It hasn't happened this year.
Let me tell you why we're evolving and why this is
the bullpen blows.
No, has nothing to do with that. The bullpen's actually been pretty good for the start of the season, but it's actually been very good.
Is 7% of Gerrit Cole better than Clay Holmes right now?
What we're looking at is using our eyes. Our eyes. Yes. Did I have previous reservations and previous judgments about Gerrit Cole and everything he's doing? Of course I did. I've been very vocal about the way I feel about him and what the expectations are. But when I see what this man has been doing in the beginning of the season and the way that he's carrying himself and the way that he's executing, how can I not make a difference? I would be stupid if I looked at what I'm looking at and not think differently. I would be completely bullheaded, just like trying to just drive something home or have animosity against a person. And that's not what I have. I just use my eyes to talk about what I see. And what I see is a guy that's extremely confident, a guy that's executing at a high level. And yeah, you listen to him at this point, because when he's at his best, he's a world-class, talk about world-class. He is a world-class pitcher when he's at his best. And he's probably his harshest critic, which I think has gotten in his way at times. Clearly he's improved on that and is in a different place. So when Gerrit Cole tells me that he's fine and can stay in the game and he's right around 100 pitches, I don't give a shit what the nerds are telling me about pitch count or anything else. I'm staying with the man who says he's good, who's a world-class pitcher and pitching like it for the beginning of the season. Of course.
So we know Gerrit Cole lives in Greenwich, Connecticut, because they're back in the pandemic. There was that video of Boone, who also lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. They were like playing catch in the backyard. Remember that?
Yeah.
And we know
he's also
that
throwing to his wife, who was a pitcher, I believe. I believe she was a pitcher at UCLA.
Carlos Rodon bought a house in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Oh.
So maybe Gerrit Cole can get through to Carlos Rodon and be like, yo, dude, your back feels okay.
Yeah.
Go pitch.
It's May the 4th. Your back feels okay. Your back is fine. Just use a little Jedi magic on him.
Before we wrap up the show, there was a really interesting article posted on ESPN where they polled a bunch of major league players on the new rules and just getting their thoughts. So I wanted to go through some of this. So they asked the question what their favorite thing about the new rules so far is. Ian Happ said not having the shift. Blake Snell said none that I can think of. Thanks, Blake.
He's having a terrible season too.
What was his thing? What was his I got to get mine. Remember when he was like playing like Call of Duty, talking about like during COVID, like
Dude,
I
he's
got to get
ever since
mine.
he won the Cy Young, he's been a shell. And guess who knew? Guess who knew that was going to happen? Tampa freaking Bay. Because they're like, oh yeah, you're going to leave? No problem. Let's just get something for you as we do and stock up because we know you're not as good as you pitched this year.
Right. If you play fantasy baseball or something and Tampa trades away a player, drop that player immediately.
Seriously.
And if you see Tampa trade for someone you've never heard of, pick that player up.
Yeah. At least put him on your watch list.
Mark Canna said that his favorite thing is the games being over in 2.5 hours more so than 3.5 hours.
The reasoning is hilarious. Keep reading it.
I do remember last year. He says, I do remember last year, my garage or my apartment where I was parking my car closed at 12. So it'd be like with my wife and my kids, it was a rush to get home just to make the garage sometimes.
Okay, cool. Thanks,
really
Mark.
funny.
So now you could get home because your garage closes. I'm really glad that you could get home and get your car parked in your garage. And you're there. You don't have to find alternate street parking. You have to worry about, where the, you don't have to worry about, which side of the street's getting, getting cleaned on that day. None of that has to come into your mind. You just go right into your garage. That's exactly why we were doing this. So that these guys could get home and with their own cars.
Yeah. Some other guys talked about the quicker pace of play and stuff. Tony Kemp talking about the disengagement limits because I think it sometimes used to get too much and repetitive. Bigger bases. Elvis Andrews says,
love him.
Higgy, our guy Higgy. I like the runner on second base in extra innings because I don't want to play 18 innings. And sometimes those games when it's 0-0 or 1-1, it's destined to go 6 more innings. You're just dreading it. So now at least the thing is both teams get their chance no matter what. I think it just ends the game quicker and actually pretty exciting because high stakes immediately.
I mean, some of these
standing ovation for our guy Higgy.
Some of these answers are so freaking ridiculous because there's like a whole lot of entitlement behind them and reasoning like, oh, I don't like these rules are cool, so I can get home to my garage. These rooms are cool, so I can just go home and get some sleep and don't have to be at the ballpark any much longer.
Yeah, because these guys, we have to remember this.
Oh
is their
God, 3
job.
hours. Yeah, it's their job.
This is their job,
right? It's their job. 3 hours. Every other sport, they're at the ballpark for the same amount of time.
It's not 3 hours because they get there at
so
noon.
Do every other sport. I know they play every day, but that's the gig. That's why you get paid the dollars you get paid. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is that generally, if you read these and you go through them, everybody, for the most part, it likes them, likes the rules. There could be some tweaks, which I do think will happen, and I think it's needed.
The tweaks, yeah. So the tweaks are interesting.
Yeah.
Most of the tweaks are talking about the pitch clock. And Ian Happ said, I'd give the pitcher 1 disengagement with no one on and probably make the clock 17 seconds with no one on base. Canna says, make the pitch clock 20 seconds with the bases empty instead of 15 seconds. Give the pitchers and hitters a little bit more time because we can get gassed when there's a long at bat. I don't know. Maybe they do start to make some of these adjustments. There was one other guy that talked about the pitch clock and how in the later innings, just like giving some more leeway in the later innings. I'm trying to find that comment.
I would love for them to, and maybe I've just missed this and this already happens with the Players Association, it can be a new set of guys. Like, let's put a committee together of players that are maybe not involved with all of the business of the Players Association, but guys who can give a different perspective on playing. Put a committee together after the season and make some rule tweaks. I think that's perfectly logical to make slight adjustments to what they're happening. The other overlying statement that was definitely talked about quite frequently with all of these guys with all the different questions was the fact that stolen bases are a just like almost stolen bases. But
it's a joke.
Yeah, they're basically just like they're given. They're given. And yes, this is a lot of things we were talking about before the season started. Like, catchers really don't have a chance right now. It's their numbers. The time that it takes a pitcher to deliver after disengagements, and then for the catcher to pop up and throw, they just don't have any time. And if you have medium speed, if you have average speed, your percentages of stealing that base are pretty damn high because of all the other factors. And that's just going to continue. People are going to continue to do that, and it's going to get exploited even more.
Higgy said the pickoff rule, that you can't throw over more than twice or 3 times technically, is leaving catchers out to dry. Cash said I'd eliminate the limit on throwovers. I think it's stupid.
Kevin Cash, not Cashman.
Kevin Cash, correct. Former catcher, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was it Kevin Cash? A catcher? Yeah. Blake Snell says stolen bases is the joke. Can't throw no one out.
I can't listen to anything Blake Snell.
Can't throw no one out.
Credibility's out the window now at this point for Blake Snell.
So yeah, some adjustments they want to see on the pickoff attempts, the stolen bases being so high. Yeah, I mean, I do expect MLB to make some changes, not this season, mid-season, but in the off season, some adjustments to make it so, like you said, stolen bases are not just given.
Yeah, I think that will happen in some form or fashion.
But yeah, go check out that article. I did find it.
I will say I love that they're using guys' quotes in their names instead of saying, "Hey, we pulled 35 or 112
anonymous League pitcher.
Major League players, and this is what came back." No. These guys are like making statements behind it, which I think is very cool and really does tell me a lot more. I don't know. It gives a lot more substance to the answers because I know who's saying it and it makes sense. The fact that Ian Happ was like, yeah, I love the shift. It's all I've gotten 2 hits over the season that would have been outs were now hits.
It's probably a mindset thing though for these guys.
Yeah, but 2.
I think it's good overall. Like the overwhelming vibe through all those answers is they like the rules. Maybe they want to see a couple of tweaks, but they're not like, I hate this. This needs to revert back to the old way immediately, which I think is positive. That's a positive progression for the sport.
The other common theme was this through these questions were that guys feel rushed, and that was pitchers and batters, and I understand that, and that's an adjustment to doing the things that you were doing to not get rushed. But I forget, one of the pitchers made a very specific, again, like this is why I like having the names behind them and we can get specific, was that he's like, I'm pitching in the 8th inning and it's a human day or whatever it was. He didn't get into that specificity, but my cleats are clogged. I need to tap out my cleats. I need to pick them out, but I didn't have a timeout. I don't have the ability to do that. So I just got to kind of go. And that can affect what you're doing. That's a real thing. Cleats get clogged. They affect the way that your footing is on the mound. I understand that. Like that's a real thing that needs to be accounted for that maybe wasn't completely thought of. Like little things like that I think matter. And that's why they have to discuss these in the off season with a group of players and get to, a nice happy medium.
Yeah. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. 2 hours and 38 minutes are the average game time this year. Last year it was 3 hours and 6 minutes. It's a significant change.
Yeah.
And it's not a small sample size anymore. There's been a full month of games plus. So, all right, that's going to wrap up. Excuse me. That's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Big weekend, obviously playing Tampa. So
minor league hockey arena, the prices are about the same as going to see a minor league hockey game. Go out there if you're down there, make that place loud, and hopefully nobody gets hurt on cement. And that the Yankees can not get their asses kicked because Wander Franco was just flipping balls up and making plays. They're just fucking around. They're just fucking around and winning games. They're like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna flip the ball. They're doing like Harlem Globetrotter shit in the middle of a routine play, and winning games. That's what's happening down in Tampa right now.
And we know how well the Yankees play at the Trop, so this should be fun.
Well, these aren't the Yankees. This is Willie Calhoun and Franchi Cordero.
That's true. That's true. We'll talk to you guys Monday.